Hello and welcome to an album a day, day 121, going through my album collection, one or so albums per day, depending if they need to be grouped together and would make more sense to display them that way. Today, we've got a very special album, and I can tell you a little bit about this band, but first I'm going to read the note that my friend Peter Gardeau sent me when he sent me this album in the box of albums that he was very kind enough to send me. It says, dated 6/10/2024. Can't believe it's already been that long. The note says, Scott, an interesting LP with stuff inside like a Kiss LP. I've never owned a Kiss LP, so I wouldn't have known that. I probably heard them on college radio in the late 90s. Go do some research, Pete. Oh, challenge accepted, Pete. Okay, I did some research. Here's the thing. Now, this band had very few albums out. They started in 1986 with a 12-inch mini album, only 4 songs on it, and that was called The Doug Factor. This album that we're talking about today, well, let me take the note out because that kind of blocks the album cover a wee bit. This one is called Traps, Buckshot, and Pelt. My kind of album. Nice painting of, countryside. Little barn there in the mountains. Looks like it's at nighttime. Don't know who put the red slash through that, but I don't think that was part of the actual album cover. Actually, let me look. No, doesn't appear that it was. That's how it goes sometimes. The vinyl itself, I'm pretty sure that this is the only one that I have on Groove Discs, Disques, which would be the French way of spelling disc, but I really like that. Really cool label there. Gotta love a good label. I love when I get different ones too, like things that are kind of unexpected. I'll show you the back here real quick. Now this is their second album, or first full-length album, I should say. They would come out with another one, Gourmet, which would be on CD. That wouldn't be until 1998. This one is 1987, so quite a span. Then we've got Take It, also came out on CD in 2000, because of course we weren't really pressing vinyls back then. Enemies List came out on an LP actually in 2009. Kind of interesting that they went back to LP so early. And then Modi, looks like, came out. Actually, it's unknown what year that came out, so that's interesting, but that was back on CD again. Then they came back with an EP. Actually, this is 1991. They came out with an EP, so this would be between Traps, Buckshot, and Pelt and Gourmet. So this would have been their third release, and this came out on Junk Records. So it's kind of weird. They kind of went back and forth between Groove Discs and Junk Record, not really related to whether it was on vinyl or not. So anyway, kind of interesting. But let's, before we get into the treasures that this album contains, Orange Amps is kind of interesting. I met Glenn Hughes from Deep Purple, Trapeze, and Black Country Communion, and all the other projects he's done, Dead Daisies, while he was promoting Orange Amps at the NAMM show. And they have a great sound to him. If you've listened to Glenn's sound over the last few years, it's absolutely phenomenal. He now has a purple orange amp, which is just weird in and of itself. So the songs, I listened to this for the first time today. And it's a really interesting album. It's really kind of a classic bluesy album. If you were to go to, say, just like a rock and roll band and they had their house bar band, I would say that this would be probably the kind of stuff they're playing when they're not playing covers. But it's really nice, really good sound on it. They got a great sound on the album, which, I mean, for 1987 is not too surprising. It should be a good sound. There's not a huge amount of instrumentation to mix. It's pretty straightforward. Don't know the songs really well because, like I said, just listened to it finally for the first time. Four Corners is the opening track. I liked all the songs. The Same Thing is second. I Like You comes third, and then She Should Know Better. Same Thing is probably my favorite on this album so far. It's really catchy, got a great chorus, really dig that. Then we flip over to side B. We've got My Best Friend, Let It Go, and my favorite song title, one of my all-time favorite song titles, is Instant Woody. I'll leave that to your imagination. It has contact for Nixon's head down here, and got their address based out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Well, actually, this might be the record company. It says Nixon's Head and Groove Disc at Head House, 4432 Sherwood Street, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 19127. Does not have the last 4 digits of the zip code. Pete, I'm really upset about that. But yeah, really, really cool. It's got a stamp on it. Actually, this is from Connecticut. That might be when the album was purchased. I'm not sure. I actually like this really bizarre groove disc chicken-esque logo here. Yeah, really interesting. I don't know what kind of walking sticks or whatever they're using for drumsticks. Looks like the actual insect of the walking stick. Crazy symbol. Drum is very oddly shaped. Really interesting stuff. And in the band, we've got Seth Bear on drums and percussion, Chicken Frank on bass. Chicken Frank on bass. I don't know if that's like a chicken hot dog thing or if his name is Frank. John Quincy Nixon on guitars, Andy Rousseau on, hope I'm pronouncing that right, Rosenau, Andy Rosenau on vocals, and then Jim Slade on guitar and vocals. And I have to say, the vocals on this album are really good. Very strong voices, really enjoyed that, and they were captured and mixed, like I said, very, very well. So yeah, it's in really good shape, and like I said, except for this red marker here, that is the way the album should look. And now we're going to talk about the gems inside. Now the sleeve is just generic, so there's nothing too special there, which I'm kind of surprised about. But maybe if you're going to spend the money on trinkets, you're not going to pay for, like a lyric sleeve or anything like that. Kind of makes sense. So, this kind of reminds me of the old Infocom text adventures. If you got, Zork or Planetfall or Infidel, they came with Feely. So you'd have the box and then the game. And sometimes the box would be a designer box. Like for Suspended, it had a plastic mask. And a couple of those were designer, but most of them were just like a plain white box with a really nice logo on them. And then you'd open them up and there'd be all these game-related treasures, whether they were historical documents or maps, or like Zork. The collection came with a Zork mid coin. So this kind of reminds me of that, like to have all these treasures along with it. So here we have a thank list and some information about the production. With these really cool graphics and some antique pieces on a sort of parchment paper, which is really nice. I like that. Very classy. I am kind of a sucker for parchment paper. Here we have a photo of the band, and on the back it's written Nixon's Head. Let's see, there are 5 people on here. Did I say 5 people? I did. So yeah, that's who they are. You can pretty much guess a guitar player, and anyone else is kind of up for grabs. I'm not sure who is who, but they look like a happy band. Then we have what's sort of a press kit, and this is interesting, very interesting actually, because this might be a bit of a special thing that was done on this particular album and not part of their stock thing, because it has a note. It said, "Gabe, here's our new record. We've heard great things about your club from Ben Vaughn Combo, and we'd love to play there. Enjoy the record. A weekend opening slot for, looks like for a compatible national band would be best for us. Thanks, Jim Slade." And as I said, Jim Slade is the guitarist and vocalist of the band. So it looks like they sent this to a club to say, hey, here's our press kit, here's our music. If we fit in, book us. How cool is that? So obviously this is very much a one-off. For some reason it's ripped here, but that's okay. On the inside we have articles about the band, some press. I'm trying to do this without tearing it. We have some articles on the band here. A little bit of a, it looks like this got slashed is what happened. Could have been when somebody was opening the cover. Maybe this was on the inside, on the front. When they opened it with the knife, they slashed through a couple of pages. What's going on with Nixon's Head? Boy, if this had come out like 20 years earlier, that would have been a whole different thing. So it looks like this is some sort of spin or underground magazine, and they had an article featured on them, which is really cool. And yeah, lots of just copied articles and very, very tiny text that would be incredibly annoying or difficult to read. They might as well have put this on a CD. It's so slow or so small. Got Jim's information on here. I wonder if that number is any good. I'm so tempted to find out, but not going to. Yeah, out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So really cool, unique find here. I mean, there definitely are a lot of cool treasures. So it makes me wonder, since this was sent to a club for promotion, it makes me wonder, would the album have actually come with any of this stuff? If anything, it would have just been this, because they typically would not include a band picture. That would be a little more expensive, cut into the profits, even though it's a black and white, but it's a very nice photo. And then would have sent that to the club, but probably would not have been in the original release, if at best just this production sheet, because that wouldn't necessarily really affect the club. The thank list, the people at the record company who did the album cover, the club wouldn't care about that. So I'm going to guess that that was part of the actual release. And let me see if it shows anything on Discogs, because I can't remember now if it does or not. Yes. Okay. So the album cover, the album art, that's all part of the standard release. And this sheet is all part of the standard release. The rest of this is press kit. Very cool. Great. Thank you so much, Pete. Really appreciate it. It's a cool album. I might have to check out some of their other stuff, because to be honest, I did enjoy this. Not a style I would probably listen to a whole lot, because this kind of music is a little bit out of my element, but I did enjoy it very much. So thank you, Pete. And thank you guys. We'll see you tomorrow for another album on An Album a Day. Cheers.